Tensions are rising in the Sinquefield Cup after 8 rounds of play. Today, some players chose to conserve their energy, leaving all their effort ready for the 9th and final round tomorrow, while others, such as Jan Nepomniachtchi, continued to press and press and press until they could press no longer and had to settle for a draw. Why don't we check out our results from today's games? Liren agreed to an early draw against Nodirbek Abdusattorov. Praggnanandha drew his game against Fabiano Caruana. Wesley had to settle for a draw against Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. Anish Giri made an early draw with Gukesh Damaraju. And Jan Nepomniachtchi, once again, unfortunately had to settle for a draw against our tournament leader, Alireza Firouzja, though he tried everything he could to stop Alireza in his tracks today. With those results, Alireza is still our clear leader, standing a full point ahead of second place, Fabiano Caruana. Again, we have a variety of players on 4 points after today's play, with MVL, Abdusattorov, Gukesh, Wesley and Praggnanandha, all on a score of 50%. And trailing them are Liren, Jan Nepomniachtchi, and Anish Giri. Why don't we take a look at some of those key moments that got us to these standings? Let's start with the most important game of the day. We had Jan Nepomniachtchi up against Alireza Firouzja. With the white pieces, Jan has some stuff to make up for in this event. He's on a score of -1 and was eager to take the fight to Alireza, trying to get that full point, get back to 50%, and potentially end on a plus score. Here, Jan had an excellent position. He finds knight takes g6, h takes g6, and bishop takes f7, snagging himself an extra pawn, but Alireza defended accurately for the next few moves. We see king h7. What else? White finds the correct move, queen to c3, challenging black's most powerful piece. Whenever your opponent's pieces stand well, such as this well-placed queen in the center of the board, it's good to drive them away. Alireza had to go to g3. Then we see rook to f1, again the best move by Jan Nepomniachtchi, keeping up the pressure. But now, after Alireza's next move, knight to d5, we see Jan falter slightly and give away the lion's share of his advantage. The best move here would have been to simply go queen to e1. And it's not some complicated tactic, no big reason why this is the best move. Black can and should take this pawn on e3, but simply after takes, rook to e1, something like rook to d3, and something simple like rook to e2. We're going to end up in this position where black has regained the pawns, regained his lost pawn, but these split pawns again are going to be weak in the long term in the endgame, and with pawns on both sides of the board, the long-range powers of the bishop are going to outshine this knight on e3. Play would just continue from here. Black would probably bring this knight to f5. Later on, white's going to look for g4 to destabilize this piece, and slowly but surely aim to target black's weaknesses. This would have left Jan with a good game with pretty good winning chances, in my opinion. However, after knight to d5, Jan chose the slightly simpler move, bishop takes d5. And after rook takes d5, it's true that for the moment, white gets to hold on to this extra pawn, but in this major piece ending with white's king missing the f-pawn, it's going to be a little bit weak on g1, and Alireza was able to leverage that in order to end up drawing the game in the long term. Let's just see quickly how the game develops. We end up, before too long, in this rook and pawn endgame, which Alireza held with pretty much perfect play. Not too much to criticize there. So that was Jan's attempt at stopping our leader, Alireza Firouzja, but he couldn't quite get it done today. Let's check out what happened in Fabi's game. Fabiano had black here against Praggnanandha, who was playing with the white pieces. And in this position, Fabiano has had a very pleasant experience in the opening. He's got these nice bishops lined up on the e-file, and white's pieces are a little bit clunky, for lack of a better word. This bishop's looking at a strong c6 pawn, and the pieces are sort of just scattered around the board, compared to black's, which are nice and lined up and very cleanly controlling both sides of the board. Here, Fabiano had a lot of options to maintain the advantage. I like the move bishop to b2. It's very forcing, targeting this rook here on c1. Rook to b1 is white's best try. If you go to c2, I can and should take on a3 with my queen on e7, helping to target the b4 pawn as well. Obviously, there's some complications there, but b1's a better square, helping guard this guy and securing the b2 square, keeping this bishop kind of trapped in if we were to take on a3. Better than that would be to go queen to f6 when the engine recommends white to play the move king h1, and after bishop a2, white is going to have to start giving up some material. It likes the move rook takes b2 the best for white, and black is going to have some extra material. It's not so simple. The f-pawn's attacked, the king is going to be slightly loose, but an exchange up is hard to argue with. Instead, Fabiano chose this move, queen to f6. And there's nothing wrong with it, but after king to h1, Fabiano plays bishop f7, queen to h3. And after some time here, Fabiano realized he doesn't really have anything better than a repetition. He chose bishop e6, bishop f7, and the game ended here. At first glance, the chess.com engine says that black might have some advantage after a move like g5, but the longer it thinks, this advantage starts to go away. The move rook g1 lands on the board, and don't even think about playing g4. I'm going to take that, and your king will be under way too much pressure to get away with this taking this bishop. So instead, you have to play some, quiet move like bishop e6 is there, and you're going to have to defend with rook to d7. And at the end of the day, the engine starts to give it zeros. So it's hard to argue with Fabi's decision to repeat here. You could try something else. You could try something like f4, which is a little bit less insane to continue the game. But Fabiano didn't see the way and settled for the repetition. Now, perhaps I was a little bit soft on Fabiano for, explaining away his reasons for taking that repetition, but this one is a little bit harder for me to understand. Liren has the white pieces in this position against Nodirbek, Abdusattorov, and this is a dream for white. You've got this awkward looking h5 pawn versus white's massive amounts of space on the king side. These doubled pawns on the b file may look like a weakness, but in reality, that just leaves white with this nice open line, targeting this pawn on a7, activating all of white's pieces, and white has absolutely everything to play for here. In this position, Abdusattorov goes knight b4, and Liren made the incomprehensible decision to repeat the position and settle for a half point. Now, white could play almost any reasonable move and be better, but just to highlight an example line, I like this move bishop back to g3 here, just sort of waiting and passing the turn back to black. There are a few things you can play. With black, you can play b6, you can play a5. The engine says knight takes e5 is perhaps your best bet. And after bishop takes e5, my idea with white is very simple. Again, black can play a variety of moves. Let's say bishop b4. What I want to do is play this move e4, break things open in the center, come forward with my king, forward with my knight, target these dark squares on the king side, and black is going to have a lot of work to do to get a half point against me in this position. So sad choice to see from Ding taking the draw in this position. I would have loved to see the fight that could have ensued after something like bishop g3, but Ding was happy for the half point. So that was our 8th round, 5 draws today. Didn't seem like there was too much action on the surface, but there was a lot bubbling just beneath. And I enjoyed seeing Jan play his rook endgame out to the very end, turning the screws on Alireza, even if he didn't succeed in getting that full point. Looking ahead to tomorrow, we have some very interesting pairings for our 9th and final round. You will not want to miss it. Fabiano Caruana takes on Anish Giri. Fabi, of course, is the only player with a mathematical chance of catching Alireza, so Fabi will need to go all out to defeat Anish in this game. Alireza Firouzja has white against Praggnanandha, a battle of the younger players, and Firouzja just needs a half point from that game in order to secure first place in the Sinquefield Cup, as well as the Grand Chess Tour, which he has already locked in with his draw today. We also have 3 other interesting games to look forward to. I believe Abdusattorov against Jan Nepomniachtchi should be a very good fight. Jan, I don't think is going to be happy to settle on -1 for the event, so we should see him gunning for the win tomorrow, and Abdusattorov, very fighting player, always takes it to his opponent. We also have MVL playing the world champion Liren, and we round out our pairings with Gukesh Damaraju up against Wesley. You do not want to miss the action in the 9th and final round of the Sinquefield Cup as we wrap up both the Cup and the Grand Chess Tour. Let me know what you're looking forward to the most in the comments, and tune back in tomorrow.